For our stretch retractional component for our lower spine, we're using our low back wedge, this funky looking cushion right here. This is a great tool. The two reasons we have a lower spine problem is because we have lost normal function and normal structure to your spine. Goal one, we started to build better function into our spine. Goal two is we have to start restoring structure to the spine, and that's what this low back wedge is going to do. And this is what's going to ultimately get us our long-term results by building better structure into our spine. That's what these low back wedges are built to do. Why? I'll go through a couple pointers here first before I get into the procedures, but what this will do is work to the level of your ligaments. Ligaments anchor bones together, muscles move bones, ligaments anchor bones together, whether it's your shoulder, knee, hips, spine. Ligaments anchor those joints and bones together. They don't like to move, but we need them to move or creep into a new position. The proper or normal structure when we're looking at the spine from the side view, that side view of your spine, we should have a nice fluid arcing curve towards the front of the body. Inevitably, these start to break down. We start to lose structure, especially where that mid and low back come together, and that's going to be our starting point for this tool. We want it a little higher up in your low back to really start to drive that motion into that, where that mid and low back come together, right at the bottom of your ribs. And we can feel where your ribs are, you can feel where they end, and we're going to place that cushion right in there. The goal here, so when we lay on this, I want to be on as hard of a surface as I can get. Whether it's the floor, I don't care if it's carpeting. I have these nice rubberized exercise mats. They're firm rubberized mats. Those are great. But again, the harder the surface, the better. That's going to allow and really drive that motion into that lower spine. That's what we want. Now, if you have trouble getting up and down off the floor, and you need to start, let's say, on your bed, it's a little more give there. Well, that's why this tool becomes pretty handy too, because we have multiple levels to it. This is going to be our starting point, but we have these lifters. Based on how we can progress, we could add our lifters in. So if we have to start on a softer surface, such as your bed, instead of our starting point being no lifters, we may have to add a lifter in. We can have to play around with that a little bit. So it's a little bit of a give and take there to make sure we're getting the right stretch or tractional component out of it to get the right results. We'll go over that again in a moment. So this is going to be our starting point for all of us. No lifters. You see this flat part here? Well, that's going to be towards your head. This arched curved part here is going to be towards your feet. I'm laying on the surface, whatever surface that is. For me, it's going to be on these mats. I'm laying on my back. My knees will be bent, my feet flat on the ground, and I want my spine to be as level and as flat as I can, so I may have to put something under my head. I have these little cushions, rubberized cushions here. I'll place it under my head, a very small pillow, but we want our spine from head all the way through to be as flat and as level as I can as I'm working on this. Again, this flat part is towards your head, curved arch part towards your feet, laying on my back, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Now the goal is that I'm going to lay on this for a solid 10 minutes, no problems. But like I said, muscles like to move, ligaments do not like to move. So we're not going to start with trying to do 10 minutes because we can create a lot of soreness. So we're going to start with about 1 to 2 minutes tops. You're going to lay on there. You're going to feel a stretch into those ligaments. You're going to do that for 1 to 2 minutes, as much as you can do right there. And then every day you're going to progress a little bit more until you can do a solid 10 minutes without any lifters, no discomfort, no major issues at all. And then you can add in a lifter. That 1-inch lifter there. So for me, this works perfectly fine for me. I'm good with this for my height. This is what I do, a solid 10 minutes. Now, you're a little taller, you may need to have to work into where you can get both lifters in, but it would be the same point here. You would start, maybe not have to go back to 1 to 2 minutes, but let's say you go back and do 5 minutes with that lifter in and build it up to 10 minutes. And once you can do 10 minutes there, then you can add in that last lifter and then do the same thing. Go back to about 5 minutes and build that up to where you can do a solid 10 minutes. If you're a little bit shorter, again, our starting points here, do a solid 10 minutes, add in that lifter until you go back to 5 minutes, build that up to 10 minutes. Again, if you're on the shorter side, this may be perfectly fine for you. That's, again, a little bit of give and take on this. Proper position for this, that arched piece right here, we're gonna start up towards where your mid and low back come together, right at the bottom of your ribs. There's no exact position where this needs to be. You can work this all the way into right above your pelvis, that's fine. But I want us to work where that mid to low back come together. So that crest right here is going to be right at the bottom of your ribs where the mid and low back come together. I'll show you the position in a moment. Again, we'll start without any lifters. We're gonna do this 1 to 2 minutes, build it up to 10 minutes, and then we can add the lifter in. But let's run through the proper usage of this right now. So proper placement of our low back wedge. I'm on my nice firm mat. I have a little cushion underneath my head to keep my upper spine nice and level. I'm on the ground, on my mat. My knees are bent, feet are gonna be flat on the ground. Flat part, again, I got no lifters. That's our starting point, no lifters. Flat part towards our head, this crest arch towards my feet. This allows my low back to sit gently and rock into a nice arch tractional position. That's what we want. We're gonna place the crest of the curve right here is gonna go right at the base where my mid back and low back come together. Right where the bottom of my ribs, top of my low back. I'm gonna place that right in there. Get that right, so my low back, the majority of my low back is on that crested part. Get my cushions right, and that's proper positioning. Allows my hips and butt just to be just barely touching the surface. That as I lay on this, and those ligaments start to creep or mold into a better position, you'll get more flexibility and motion into your hips and pelvis. It allows your bum to sit nice onto the ground. Initially, when you're laying on that, those ligaments are going to be a little more firm or tight and not allow that spine to move, and that's the goal. That's our goal, is to build that motion, that flexibility, allow those ligaments and muscles and joints to all move in the proper manner, and this is it. It's a passive treatment, means I'm not doing anything, I just lay here. Our starting point again will be 1 to 2 minutes, so set your timer. Right now this feels really good. It's a great stretch for your lower spine, as good as it gets. All right, you do this for 1 minute or 2 minutes. When we're just starting, it might start to feel a little, where you're starting to get a little achy, that's fine. You can end the session and then build up to where you can do a solid 10 minutes. That's gonna be our starting point. Once I can do a solid 10 minutes, then I add in 1 lifter, drop it down and do about 5 minutes with that lifter until I can do a solid 10 minutes. Again, for me, that 1 lifter is perfectly fine for my height. If you're a little taller, you may have to build up to where you can use both lifters. So that's gonna be our starting point. Now, a huge point when I am done with this, I'm gonna slide this, I'm gonna engage my core, gotta lift my hips up, slide this out, and then I'm gonna roll over to my side and then get up from there. Now, when I get up off of that, again, the ligaments, they don't like to move, but we need them to creep or mold into that position. So once I get up, I might feel a little stiff or achy, but once you get up and move around, start walking around a little bit, that'll dissipate within a minute or 2. For some people, we like to go right back onto our wobble cushion, drive a little bit more motion into it. That is great. If you have time to do that, I absolutely recommend doing that. But just getting up and walking around is just fine. Say hello to Chance. If you have a dog, this is always part of the process. They like to get involved. But that's how we're going to use our low back wedge. Let's get moving.